We talk a lot about student debt, the student debt crisis, much of it focused on undergrads or degrees that don't turn out value. We don't tend to focus as much on the B school side of things, but as your research notes, it's pretty significant.
It really is, and that's what surprised us, the degree and the depth of it. I mean, as you said, we found that at some of the most prestigious schools in the world, students are graduating with $100,000 of debt or more, and that includes schools like Duke, Cornell, Dartmouth's Tuck School, Chicago University's Booth School, and you ratchet it down just slightly, where you look at the number of students, and it's almost a third or more at also another whole series of prominent schools like MIT's Sloan School, Wharton, NYU, and Kellogg. It was really a large number, and it surprised us.
All right, well, so Caleb, I mean, we know that these schools are expensive, but what's the return on investment? I mean, you got to spend money to make money, right?
You do, and that's what's interesting. So our reporter on this story, Shaheen Nasirapur, was able to interview a good number of students who graduated from these schools with this six-figure debt, and that's exactly how they view it. They look at it, it's business school, it's an ROI. I will be out of the workforce for a certain period of time. How much more money might I make when I graduate? And the thing that at these top schools, the median starting salary can be anywhere from $125,000 to $130,000 or $135,000 a year more. That's not counting bonuses, that's not counting other compensation. So of the ones that Shaheen spoke to, they didn't love the fact that they had six figures of debt, but they could live with it. They thought that it was worthwhile.
Caleb, would it be more sensible to go abroad? I mean, Europe boasts some pretty good business schools, London Business School, INSEAD, and it's kind of shorter and cheaper to do it there.
Exactly, and that's what we found too. So everything we talked about so far is largely a U.S. phenomenon. It's students graduating from U.S. schools that are facing this huge debt. When we looked at U.S. versus schools based elsewhere, and including some of the most famous schools outside of the U.S., we looked at INSEAD, London Business School, ESADE in Spain. When you look at those schools, the debt levels are much, much lower, and that's probably because it's a very different program. The U.S. is a 2-year full-time program, and that's what we were looking at, the full-time program. In Europe, they kind of call it a year, but it's typically 14 or 16 months, but it's still shorter, so less expensive, and you're out of the workforce for a lot less time.